Chapter 4 Virtual Machines. Imagine a fully functional house built inside another house. The outer house is real. Physical walls, power, plumbing. The inner house works just like a real house, but it exists entirely within the outer one. If the inner house burns down, the outer house is completely untouched. That's a virtual machine. And once you understand what it is and why it exists, you'll start seeing why it's one of the most important concepts in modern IT, used everywhere from software testing to enterprise server management to cybersecurity research. In this chapter, John's class installs VirtualBox, creates a virtual machine running Ubuntu Linux, takes snapshots, and discovers that you can intentionally break an operating system and restore it to perfect condition in seconds. Key concepts: virtual machines, host and guest, hypervisors, VirtualBox, snapshots and cloning. Let's go.
Week 4. You asked us to imagine a house inside a house. The outer house is real. The inner house is fully functional. Rooms, furniture, utilities, but it exists inside the outer one. And if the inner house burns down, the outer house is completely fine.
Which is essentially what a virtual machine is. A complete, software-simulated computer running inside your real computer. It uses a portion of your real machine's resources, but it behaves entirely like a separate machine with its own operating system, files, and applications.
Darius immediately asked why you'd want that, which is a fair question.
It's a great question. The answer is safety, flexibility, and efficiency. You can test things inside a virtual machine without any risk to your real system. Install sketchy software, try a different operating system, experiment with settings. If everything goes catastrophically wrong, you delete the virtual machine and start again. Your real computer is completely untouched.
Someone asked if you could install actual viruses in there, and you said yes. That's literally what cybersecurity researchers do.
Malware analysis, penetration testing, security research, all of it often happens inside isolated virtual machines. That isolation is the key feature. The guest machine is sandboxed from the host.
Host and guest, those are the terms. Your real machine is the host. The virtual machine running inside it is the guest.
And the software that creates and manages virtual machines is called a hypervisor. There are two types. Type 1 hypervisors, called bare metal, run directly on the hardware with no operating system underneath. These are used in enterprise servers, VMware ESXi, Microsoft Hyper-V. Type 2 hypervisors run on top of an existing OS, VirtualBox, VMware Workstation. Those are what you'd use on a personal machine.
We used VirtualBox. It's free, made by Oracle. When you first open it, it looks like a launcher for different computers, each in its own box.
Creating a new VM in VirtualBox involves a few key decisions. You give it a name, choose the OS type so VirtualBox can optimize settings, allocate RAM. We gave our Ubuntu VM 2 GB out of the machine's 8, and create a virtual hard disk file, which acts as the guest's storage drive.
That virtual hard disk is just a file sitting on your real computer's storage, but the VM treats it like an actual hard drive.
Exactly. It can be a fixed size, allocating all the space immediately, or dynamically allocated, where it grows as the VM uses more space. Then you mount an ISO file as a virtual optical drive, boot the VM, and the installer runs as if you'd inserted a physical disk.
Seeing Ubuntu loading inside a window on my Windows desktop was genuinely strange. A whole different operating system running in a box.
Priya compared it to Russian nesting dolls, which is a very apt description.
The part that really got me was snapshots. That was your Friday lesson.
Snapshots are one of the most powerful features of virtualization. A snapshot captures the complete state of a VM at a specific moment. The OS, all files, all settings, everything. You can create multiple snapshots and restore to any of them at any time.
Like a save point in a game. Before a risky operation, you save. If something breaks, you reload. No permanent consequences.
And I demonstrated by taking a snapshot, then deliberately breaking the Ubuntu install, deleted a system folder. The VM crashed. Restore the snapshot. Ubuntu came back perfectly intact.
The whole class said whoa at the same time. That was a good moment.
The best practice is always to snapshot before anything risky, installing untested software, changing system settings, running anything from an unknown source. The cost is minimal. The protection is substantial.
You also showed us cloning, creating an exact copy of a VM, linked clone versus full clone.
A linked clone shares its base disk with the original, so it's much smaller, but depends on the original existing. A full clone is completely independent, same size, but can run anywhere on its own. In businesses, they clone VMs to deploy identical workstations in minutes rather than setting each one up from scratch.
Virtual machines were one of those things I'd heard about, but assumed were advanced and complicated. Turns out the concept is genuinely straightforward.
Most powerful concepts are once someone explains them properly. That's the theme of this whole course, really. Yes, really.
Virtual machines are everywhere in modern IT, even if most people never see them directly. Every time you use a cloud service, that service is almost certainly running in a virtual machine on a physical server, somewhere in a data center. Every time a developer tests new software in a safe environment, a VM is doing the isolating. Every time a cybersecurity analyst studies malware, a VM is containing it. The concept is simple. A guest computer running inside a host computer, isolated, sandboxable, snapshotable, clonable. Once you understand it, you see it in everything. In Chapter 5, we step back and look at something even more fundamental. How computers talk to each other. Not the internet in the abstract. The actual mechanics of networking. How devices find each other. How data travels. How your home network works. And what the difference actually is between a LAN, a WAN, and the internet. Chapter 5. Networking Basics. Coming right up.